forehead is really shiny. Are you sure you don't want to apply some makeup?
It just emphasizes the receding hairline. And welcome to today's Rowdy.com Big Three. Welcome.
Welcome.
I'm Bassmasters. He's Buck Fever. He is Jerome Buzz Cutler. And he's got today's questions on the driver edition of the show.
Today, it's Wednesday, it's hump day, it's driver day on the Rowdy.com Big Three.
Hot diggity dog.
We're going to take a look at 3 drivers and discuss their performance of late. Let's go in alphabetical order, shall we?
Okay.
Starting with the dinger himself, Mr. A.J. Allmendinger.
When was the last time AJ finished outside the top 15? It's been Darlington, right? 6 races. Six
races
straight
ago.
races in the top 15.
He's got a 14, 14, 10, 11, 13, 10.
It's not bad considering how the Fords are running. That consistency is nice, but there's a flip side to this. If you go back to the 4th race of the year at Atlanta, he's only had 2 finishes outside the top 20, but he's also only had 2 top 10s in that time. 3 top 10s. 3 top 10s in that time. 2 of them were 10ths. So he's right in that zone where he's gotten better, but we've seen guys in this zone before where you take that leap from like a 25th place car to a 12th, 11th place car. That's very impressive. But what's the hardest move to make, Buck? That's the move from top 15 into top 10 to top 5. That's the hard move to make. But the consistency, very impressive.
Yeah, and it's really surprising given the equipment. We don't think that Petty Enterprises equipment is anything near some of the other teams, but it really seems to be doing very well. He's averaging a 12th place finish. That for him, I think is just tremendous.
Yeah, 6 straight races in the top 15.
Amazing.
Pretty impressive.
His average finish since the All-Star break is better than Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, and Casey Kane.
Yeah, and that speaks to consistency.
All right, let's move on to everybody's All-American, a guy who's a better actor than his uncle.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
What are some of the lines from
You and me both, Junior.
What's one of Junior's lines?
I've had Nationwide all my life.
You guys are really good actors.
You were
too.
speaking, of course, of Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Yeah, I think it's a little too early to pronounce a trend here. The last 3 races have been good. He's outperformed his finishing average at the last 3 tracks by, 5 to 10 places, which is pretty impressive. But if you go before that, 5 straight races where he just didn't perform that well outside the top 15 and was talking about feeling lost. So 3 good races does not a trend make. It's a good sign, and there's a lot of people reading the tea leaves for Junior.
Yeah, he seems to be trending in a good direction, and you're right, it is only 3 races, but if you look at like the 6 races ago, he was scoring a 30. Last race, he got an 8. That's quite a big jump, and it's really good to see.
Well, I think the thing also that you have to look at with New Hampshire is that the entire team was performing a lot better. So it feels like Hendrick Motorsports is a little more on their game. Junior's benefiting from that. Now we'll see what he can do with it.
Speaking of Hendrick Motorsports, let's move on to a guy who's not quite so on his game.
Yeah.
Well,
Mark Martin.
This is totally, terribly interesting to me because we feel like Mark Martin has really lost his mojo, where he's just kind of sluggish out there. Where this time last year he was competing for wins, he was charging into the chase. For the last 6 races, this is where stats can be kind of foolish, but for the last 6 races he's averaged 16.5. For the last 6 races, Junior has averaged 16.1. So in one case,
and they're out of the same garage.
Same garage, and in one case we're saying, oh, Junior's up. In another case we're saying, oh, Mark Martin's down. I think they've both sort of melted into mediocrity here.
Well, it all depends on where you're starting from. You know what I mean? I mean, Mark Martin had a pretty nice start to the beginning of the year, carded a lot of top 5s in the first 9 races. The dude had 5 top 5s. Okay? But since then, in races 10 through 17, he's only had 1 top 10. 1.
That's what's going on.
That's just weird.
Maybe.
That was at Charlotte, and it's been a while since Mark Martin's had a good run.
You know, the elderly get tired quite easily.
Oh, he always do that. Maybe Junior stole something out of Mark's car.
I think with Mark Martin, you just have to wonder why the feel is not there. But if Hendrick Motorsports is truly getting their hands around the spoiler, it seems inevitable that Mark will catch up.
Well, Alan Gustafson basically came out and said, look, I missed the spoiler. I wasn't even close, and I should have been, and it's on me.
Right. So I think that's the thing. They've got to give Mark the feel he wants. If they give him the feel he wants, he'll run up front again. But, of course, that's an elusive thing. You see what it is, Buck? What it is it's that elusive marriage between man and machine, and there's a mystery there, a mysterious thing there that you can't quite
It's like
grasp.
alchemy.
It's elusive, and you're trying to grab it and grasp it, and sometimes it just gets away from you, and it's hard to
Well, a
track
car
back down
is
again.
it's nothing but a piece of metal with forces acting on it, and the forces are not acting right for Mark Martin right now.
Well, I'm sure the force will be with you someday. That has been your Rowdy.com Big Three for today. Nanu for Buck Fever on Mass
Nanu?
Masters. Remember that?
I do. It was a great show. Mork and
and
Mindy.
Mindy.
Shazbot.
Fly, be free. Anyway.
And then they brought on
Jonathan Winters.
Which
They
was
did?
straight- Yeah,
I don't
towards the end
remember
of the
Oh,
show.
yeah, Jonathan Winters was
remember
their son who was aging backwards.
Yes.
Dear.
Great.
I'm walking backwards for Christmas.
Rowdy.com. Say it like it is.
Say what like it is?
Rowdy.com.